here is in all of its glory Estadio Centenario, one of the most historic stadiums in the world. The host of the first World Cup here in Montevideo, Uruguay. We've been all around the world with the state of soccer. And this is one of the most famous stadiums I've ever been to. Alright guys, we are on our way to Estadio Centenario. This is where the national team, Selección Nacional de Uruguay, they play here, all their matches. So we're going to go check that out. This stadium actually was host in 1930. The Copa Mundial, the World Cup in 1930, was hosted here in Uruguay. The first one, the very first World Cup. And there are talks now of the World Cup being possibly hosted in Uruguay in the future. Montevideo might have the 2030 World Cup. They're bidding for it currently, and the hopes are the stadium will be a part of that World Cup. So let's go check it out. Estadio Centenario. There is the national team stadium right there. We're gonna go check it out in 1 minute. But hopefully you guys are enjoying kind of the sights and sounds here, the drive into the stadium. Really excited to be here in Uruguay. So guys, one thing to note is that Uruguay has 2 World Cup titles officially, the 1930 World Cup and the 1950 World Cup. Of course, I just said a minute ago, the 1930 World Cup was hosted here in Uruguay, but unofficially before the first World Cup in 1930, Uruguay actually won the Olympics in 1924 and 1928. So FIFA technically recognizes that they can wear 4 stars on their crest. That was essentially the World Cups before the first ever World Cup hosted here at this stadium in Montevideo. So guys, as you know, I'm here with Homefans for this 7-day tour in Buenos Aires, and now we are in Montevideo. And Homefans is awesome. I mean, they set me up with these great tour guides, and here's one right here for Montevideo for this football experience.
Hello, how are you? I'm Liber. I'm the host in Montevideo for Homefans, and I'm glad to have you guys in here. We're gonna see the stadium, we're gonna see the court, we're gonna see the museum of the stadium that has a lot of history about the first World Cup in here, and some other big moments for Uruguay, like the 1950 World Cup also, and many other stuff that we are gonna see together in a few minutes.
And guys, the great thing about Homefans is, and I have to say, the places we've gone so far, the matches, what we've seen, it would be very difficult to travel without Homefans. And they've made it so easy, and they set us up with incredible tour guides. And this is another perfect example. We're so excited to be here to check out Montevideo, the football history here in Uruguay.
This guy here is Obdulio Varela. He is considered one of the bravest guys in Uruguay, because he was the captain of Uruguay in 1950 World Cup, the World Cup that Uruguay won in Maracanã. That it was very hard. There were no chances. People in Brazil thought there were no chances for any country to win it, but Uruguay won that championship against all odds.
All right guys, in front of us are some of the original jerseys. This is from the 1924 Olympics. Camiseta de Angel Romano, right here. This is the 1928 Olympics, 4 years later, both tournaments that Uruguay won. Camiseta de Jose Nasazi. ¿Cómo se dice Nasazi? Bien. And then over here is the 1930 World Cup jersey, Camiseta de Santos Iriarte, and this one is 1950. However, I don't think this is the original because it looks super, looks very new. And when Uruguay won in the 1930 World Cup final, they scored 4 goals. Here are all of them in sequential order. in the 4-2 win over Argentina. When I say this museum has it all, it has it all. Check this out. This is La Puerta. It is the door to the original Uruguayan headquarters, football headquarters. Massive, massive, massive door, all wood frame. And I believe it led to this, which is right in here. Lo siento. Standing right now where it's Uruguay, you know, all the individuals back in the day would make selections about the team, the federation. They would all gather here. And this is in the museum. This museum is unbelievable. It brings football to life. Highly recommend it. Once again, I'll say it again, if you're enjoying this, hit like, subscribe to State of Soccer. Really, really enjoying this tour of Estadio Centenario. Alright guys, after the museum tour, we are finally going to check out Estadio Centenario. Here you can see, Bienvenido Estadio Centenario, declarada por FIFA primer monumento histórico del fútbol mundial. It is the first monument for FIFA, Estadio Centenario. And if we walk up these stairs, in one moment you get to see the famous Estadio Centenario, which has played host to many, many incredible matches over the years for the Uruguayan national team, as well as the 1930 World Cup, obviously including the final that they won. Alright guys, we're heading close to the pitch now, and there's something really unique about this stadium here, Centenario Estadio. Walking down, and there's actually a pool of water next to the field. We'll see it here in 1 second as we get closer. As we go down the stairs here and get closer, you'll notice that there's water on the side of the stadium. This is actually used as irrigation. They use this water to water the field, and sometimes players, after scoring goals, they're known to jump into the water. Not right now though, because it's super cold here in Montevideo, but really unique. I've never seen this before. Something unique about this stadium. One thing we've learned since visiting Montevideo is that they are trying to be the host of the 2030 World Cup, which is the 100-year anniversary. And in order to host here at Estadio Centenario, they're going to have to do a couple things. They're going to have to change a couple things. One thing being is to lower the field down to make it more viewable for the individuals, the people back here. And then another thing that they're going to do is build stands where over there where it says Nacional Uruguay. They're going to add stands and kind of modernize this place. I like the way it is. It's a historic monument. But all that aside, you know FIFA's going to want to pump some money if they're hosting the largest tournament in the world, the most important tournament in the world for sports. But my hopes are that it is hosted here as well as Buenos Aires, because since traveling to Buenos Aires and now Montevideo, I think it'd be two really good host countries for the 2030 World Cup. So that does it from this episode of State of Soccer. I hope you enjoyed the museum and tour of Estadio Centenario and here in Montevideo, Uruguay. If this episode has you wanting to learn more about football in Uruguay, then I would recommend you clicking the video on Club Nacional de Football. The stories told in this episode are legendary and a testimony to one of the largest teams in Uruguay and one of the most decorated clubs in world football. Additionally, check out Homefans. For a limited time, you can use the code SOSTV10 to receive 10% off at checkout. Links to this tour with Libra are in the descriptions. I highly recommend it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.